Tamisha Ridge was an up-and-coming fashion YouTuber back in 2014 with upwards of 150,000 subscribers at her peak. Her channel, under the name Misha Boo, centered around DIY style and other fashion that she had created on her own. She would make all different types of clothing on a budget with cheap materials and put it together into something extremely nice. She wanted to teach people through the channel, and leading up to 2014, her channel had been consistently growing in views and subscribers, gaining recognition from others in the online fashion community. She had posted 31 videos and was becoming an inspiration to many people who were interested in making fashion cheaply. The main subject of the channel was sewing and creating, and Tamisha would show what she had recently sewn. She would also sew on video and create items throughout the video to show what she was making for herself. Welcome to Crime Time. Subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon for more stories. According to multiple people who were avid watchers of her YouTube channel, Tamisha was a very energetic and happy person who took lots of pride in what she did. She wanted to spread her love for fashion and sewing to the world and help those who were less fortunate. Along with her popular YouTube channel, she also had an online shop that sold fabrics and clothes that she made and worked with herself. This would lead to her developing and growing her wealth along with her status in the fashion community. But sadly, her YouTube stardom and her dreams would be devastatingly cut short. On May 14, 2014, she was murdered at the age of 31 in her apartment while she was asleep. Only a few hours before, she had made her last YouTube video. Before this incident, many did not know about her love life and her struggles in it. She did not spread this type of information on her YouTube channel, so her viewers were shocked to hear that she had relationship problems. It was only close family who knew of her relationship struggles. Tamisha had been in an on and off relationship with a man named Demishlo Green for approximately 10 years before he went to jail and she married another man. During that time, they had a daughter together. According to Tamisha and her mother, Demishlo was abusive towards her and had hit her multiple times in the past. This was the main reason for the subsequent breakup and separation that would last 5 years. Tamisha would move to Sacramento County in California with her daughter and other kids to get away from the old relationship and start new. She began going to fashion school and making YouTube content on the regular. Demishlo Green had a history of domestic abuse dating back to previous relationships where accusations were made. But Tamisha and Demishlo somehow found a way to get back in contact about 5 years after the initial separation. Since the time that they had gotten back together until the night of her murder, not much time had passed. It was only a few months until they broke up once again and Green had hit his tipping point. On the night Tamisha was murdered, Green entered her home as she was sleeping. He walked right into her room and up to the bed, then stood over her. He then pulled out his shotgun and shot her once in the head. Tamisha's cousin, who was in the same apartment along with Tamisha's 3 kids, would not wake up until the next morning when Tamisha's cousin, Valencia, would discover her body. Green would then immediately turn himself into the police for a parole violation, and they would soon charge him with murder. The details of that night would not become as solid as the family had thought. During the trial, it would come forward that Demishlo had flown from Texas to Sacramento the day before he murdered Tamisha and had called and texted her multiple times that day. The contents of the conversation included that Demishlo wanted to get back together and he felt as if Tamisha had betrayed him by breaking up with him again. Tamisha had answered many of the first calls but would then begin to not answer as they kept coming throughout the day. According to Demishlo's testimony, he had entered the home through an unlocked front door, but just to have a conversation with Tamisha. He denied that he had shot Tamisha at all. The prosecution stated that according to the evidence and testimony of all who were involved, Demishlo entered the home through the front door with a sawed-off shotgun that he was going to use for nefarious purposes. As he entered Tamisha's bedroom, the man she was in bed with woke up and proceeded to fight with Demishlo. In the physical altercation, the gun had been fired by Demishlo, killing Tamisha. After this happened, Demishlo reportedly fled the scene and later turned himself in to the police. This was all testimony and evidence presented in the initial trial that would eventually end in a hung jury, as they could not decide who shot the gun that killed Tamisha. 2 years later, Demishlo would go to trial once more for the murder of Tamisha, and he was sentenced to 75 years to life in prison after a jury found him guilty of the murder of Tamisha along with illegal possession of a firearm. The man who attempted to save Tamisha and take the gun from Demishlo was Tamisha's new boyfriend, whom she met at fashion school. His name is Herzl, and he was Tamisha's new shot at a successful relationship. He was apparently much nicer, kinder, and loving towards Tamisha when they were together. He even helped with the work on the YouTube channel and her online store. They would soon get married and move in together. Sadly, this was when Demishlo would come back into Tamisha's life, as he had just finished up time in jail for an assault and was looking to see Tamisha and his daughter. This and Demishlo's constant calling and texting would cause a rift between Tamisha and Herzl. This rift grew and grew until they separated and she moved out and back to Sacramento. Demishlo would continue to contact her and try to reinsert himself into her life. This did not work, and this was when he began to harass and eventually kill Tamisha. Tamisha's mother had some very powerful words for any women going through abusive relationships similar to her daughter's experience, and in the wake of the trial, she made a statement saying, "Be stronger and leave." She wants women to think about your kids and to leave for safety even when you feel you can't do it on your own. Due to Tamisha's relative internet fame and shocking murder investigation, Discovery created a documentary episode about the horrific death of Tamisha Ridge called Web of Lies: The Fatal Follower. This documentary episode details Tamisha's life, her brief stardom, her death, and all the things surrounding her complex love life. It is truly devastating, as Tamisha was still very young when she had died and had many things going for her in life, including the YouTube channel, her shop, and her starting again in Sacramento after her separation from her husband. Many fellow influencers have come to talk about abuse in relationships and how important it is to talk to someone and change the situation you are in. Tamisha's family continues to preach that point. They are pleased they got justice, but know that others don't, and they hope everyone will heed this horrific example and change their lives for the better. My condolences to her friends and family and all those that loved her. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.